Well, thank you very much for being here with me today. Gabby, I met you while learning silk. It's been super nice doing silk with you. I met you at Aerialist Amsterdam a couple of years ago, and now here we are in the middle of all of these crises. Thankfully, we have online channels to keep connecting. So, well, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? What are the disciplines that you teach? I know you as a teacher in aerial silk, but I also know you do a ton of other things. So tell us a bit about yourself.
My name is Gabriela, and I started off as a dancer back home in the Czech Republic. And I started with aerials when I moved to London, where I was introduced to circus disciplines. And when I saw people flying in the air, I fell in love with it completely. So it's been my passion ever since. So it's been quite a long time now, quite a few years. And at the moment, I live and I teach and perform in Amsterdam. And currently I'm focusing on aerial silks, aerial hoop, aerial hammock, and I also do aerial yoga. And of course, together with all of that, I like to focus also on strength and flexibility, just some basics on the ground.
All right. So you teach in different parts, in different studios and schools in Amsterdam, right? All of these different disciplines.
Yes.
Okay, cool. And what are some of you mentioned a couple of countries where you have like done related activities in? What are those once again?
I also performed and did a little bit of teaching while I stayed in Brazil. So that was quite exciting, because back then I didn't really speak much Portuguese. But it was fun. It was definitely interesting.
All right. And for how long have you been an aerialist and a teacher?
Well, it started off as a hobby. So first it was just mostly for fun, but it got a little bit more serious when I moved to Holland, where I really started performing and teaching quite a lot. So actually then eventually it became my main profession.
All right. And now online teaching.
Yes, now new learning curve, online teaching.
Right. So how has that experience been for you?
Well, it's definitely been an interesting experience so far. Unfortunately, I'm not teaching any aerials online, because it's quite rare that people have an access to a rigging point in their homes. I mean, there are actually few students, but there are very, very few, unfortunately. So we are mostly now focusing, or I'm trying to mostly focus on just regular strength and flex, on the ground, that everybody can practically do from their home anytime. And you don't need a lot of things for that. You can also replace your props by some books or some stretchy tights. Just get creative.
Yeah, talking about like not having silks at home, like it's been so sad, to be honest. Like I'm really looking forward to be able to go back to the studio and be able to climb silks. I've been even thinking about like dropping silks from my balcony. Not very safe, I know, but
not sure if it's very safe.
Exactly, but it's like I would still have a month to go, so I guess you are stuck with me and these others that are joining those online lessons and sessions.
Well, I think it's great that we can actually stay connected, and that we can keep on training together, that we can support each other, that we have something to look forward to, not just to see each other and catch up a little bit, how we are all doing, but also train a little bit. And yeah, I think that's very important, especially now in this kind of situation when we are all in isolation. It's quite bizarre, actually. Normally a class would last about 75 minutes plus. I always like to start off with a gentle warm-up and some breathing exercises, and then slowly moving more into conditioning, strengthening, working on the core strength, arm strength, leg strength, back strength, and then we are moving more into the deep stretches towards the end when the body is really warm, all the joints and muscles are warm, so we can really go for it a little bit more.
Yeah, I really feel that the structure of your class is quite flowy, you know, it helps you go into a little bit more deeper stretches in an easier way. I don't know how to describe it, but indeed the warming up is quite, you know, like yeah, coherent, I guess.
Yes, I'm glad that actually that it's working,
Yeah,
because I definitely like to focus on certain parts of the body and then really get them warm, so then we can go into a deeper stretch. Of course, it's not just into going deeper, but it's also like protecting the body from getting injured or things like that, to be really also safe, knowing where we're going. So everybody, because I'm not there now to really provide everybody, so people have to be really responsible and maybe feel themselves a little bit more, how their body responds and where they can take it. So I think
yeah.
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned that a couple of times during the week, during the class, like to kind of like pay attention to our bodies and just do as much as we can, as we feel is possible without hurting ourselves. So tell me a little bit about like this online experience. How many people are joining you? How has that been for you?
We have at the moment a group of about 40 people, I think.
Okay.
And they are all students that I know personally, that been following me for quite some time. So actually, most of them also know each other, which is really nice. Because the group of people is a group of people that I know, so it doesn't kind of feel strange. But what feels awkward is that I don't actually see everybody. I cannot be hands-on, so
Yeah.
that's awkward. But now slowly, I'm also learning and kind of getting used to it. So maybe I give a little bit more guidance. So because I cannot see people, so I feel I need to guide people a little bit more, even really tell them, and also show really different options, because it's not always quite clear. So I try to do that a little bit more structured, and I'm a little bit more careful also,
Yeah.
and it available to people that are quite flexible or are quite strong, and then maybe not so much strong, so everybody knows what to do and not overdo it, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely see that. And okay, so tell me, what are some of the good and the bad things of doing this online?
Well, the good
Apart
thing
from what you already mentioned, right? That you couldn't see yourself so and other people, so that's a bit weird.
good thing is definitely that we can do this together. We can still do this together. We can stay connected. We can support each other, and yeah, we can keep on being fit to some extent. But what is of course quite sad about this situation is that we cannot actually do what we love the most, which is being in the air, flying in the air. Like I
Yeah.
said, not everybody can do that at home. And of course I do miss the contact with people.
Yeah.
Uh, but it's great that we have this, at least,
Yeah.
because otherwise I think things would be much worse for everybody.
Yeah, definitely. But it's also cool that we are kind of like getting to know new people, like using these or during this time, people that join because they are friends of others or because they hear about you, and also with people that have left that we met here in Amsterdam previous aerialists that for some reason they had to go to other cities. That's also quite cool, I feel.
I think that's really great, actually, that people that left us, that were part of our group, now can be, we are now together again. That's really nice. And of course, people are free to join, even if they are not part of our group, as long as they are responsible and they know, how far they can go with their bodies. So it's kind of open to everybody, of course. It's mostly, I feel that it's mostly about our community. And of course, it's nice if the community grows, especially in these circumstances.
Yeah, definitely. And talking about that, do people need to have some experience? What would you say is like the basic for people to join these classes?
I think it would be good to have some basic body awareness, definitely. So if you have never done anything before, of course, it's going to be quite tough on you.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, it's good to have some body awareness and some experience in any kind of sport, really. So you already know a little bit about yourself. But if you are a complete beginner that you have never worked with your body, I think this might be a little bit demanding and a little bit challenging. But of course, everybody's open up for that. I try to always structure the class, so making sure that what we need is warm and ready. So for example, if I'm working on back bends, I'm going to make sure that we really warm up our shoulders, that we really warm up our hip flexors and of course our backs, and get the core going. So I always put these things together, so eventually maybe we can take it into a wheel pose or into a deeper back bend. Just
Yeah.
making sure that everything is nice and warm. And of course, each class I focus on a slightly different muscle group or joint group, a little bit more depending on what we are going to do.
All right. And are there any elements or things that people need to have at home to be able to join these classes?
Well, we are using the regular props like blocks and straps. Of course, you can also use weights if you want to go a little bit deeper towards the end. But nowadays, not everybody has these props at home. So then we need to get creative, use some books instead of blocks, and maybe stretchy tights instead of straps. Just being creative. Sometimes we use a little bit more the wall, or we use a chair for some exercises, or a towel or socks to slide on the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, being doing that as well, like trying to find what it is that I can use to do the exercise. But it's been cool and makes force you to be a little bit creative too. So it's cool. So before you leave me, maybe tell me what is one exercise that your students or followers really like or find funny to do.
Well, we've done some research, and it seems like that most of our students like to work on core strength, getting really strong, and doing active flexibility exercises.
Okay.
And I think the most fun exercises, they find the ones that we do unfortunately with a partner. So we now need to be creative also with our partners or flatmates or families to give us a little push if possible.
Yeah, my favorites are splits, when we train splits, the frontal splits. Those are great, but indeed, like being able to train with someone is very nice. So that's something that we'll have to with a little to be
Yeah,
able to
it
do
really
it.
works when you get encouraged by someone. Of course, you kind of can push each other a little bit or help each other a little bit in the stretch to feel more comfortable, and to guide through the stretch. It's nice as well. Of course, you exchange a lot. Unfortunately, this will have to wait for when we unite again.
Yeah, indeed, like a month more, like I said, yeah. Well, so I'm really looking forward, Gabi, to your next class. I think it's tomorrow, yeah.
Yes.
Then I'll see you there. And thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Ale.
All right, bye.